Tucked away in the dry soup valley of Peru is Caral-Supe, a really old city hidden by the mists of time. This amazing place shows how clever early humans were. In the early 1900s, archaeologists started to think there might be old ruins in the Supe Valley. But it wasn't until the 1970s that people really started to look closely. Thanks to the hard work of Peruvian archaeologist Ruth Shady Solis in the 1990s, the world learned about Caral-Supe. Scientists used carbon dating on things found at Caral-Supe, and the results were surprising. The city was alive and well between 2600 and 2000 BCE, around the same time as ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. Caral-Supe is important for more than just its age. The people who lived there were successful in a tough environment. They came up with new ways to farm, built complex social structures, and made amazing buildings. Caral-Supe's legacy isn't just about what's left of the city, but also what it teaches us about what humans can do. Their artifacts, like cloth, musical instruments, and religious items, tell us a lot about what they believed, what they valued, and what their daily lives were like. Caral-Supe shows us how connected human history is. It reminds us that civilization didn't just move in a straight line. By studying Caral-Supe, we can better understand how different people lived. Through its ruins, artifacts, and the echoes of people long gone, we can start to figure out the mysteries of our shared past. Caral-Supe's location in the dry Supe Valley is interesting. They built smart irrigation systems that turned the desert into farms. This extra food helped the population grow and allowed people to specialize in different jobs. The people of Caral-Supe also used resources from the nearby Pacific Ocean. This smart location kept the city safe from invaders and helped it last a long time. One of the most amazing things about Caral-Supe is that it doesn't seem to have any walls for protection. Unlike other old cities, Caral-Supe seems to have existed without walls or other defenses. This makes us think it was a society that valued peace and working together more than fighting and war. This makes us wonder how they governed themselves and solved disagreements. Even with all we've learned from digging, Caral-Supe is still a mystery in many ways. They didn't have a written language, so we don't have any written records of their history, beliefs, or how their society worked. The many pyramids, plazas, and homes make us think they had a hierarchical society with specific jobs for different people. Finding quipu at Caral-Supe makes things even more mysterious. Quipu are knotted cords used by the Inca and other Andean cultures to keep records. Caral-Supe's mysterious nature makes it even more interesting. The buried treasures of Caral-Supe tell a great story about its people. Digging has uncovered many artifacts, each one telling a story about daily life, art, and spiritual beliefs. Some of the most amazing finds are the complex textiles. Geometric patterns, figures, and abstract designs hint at a complex system of symbols. Broken pieces of pottery, found all over the site, give us more clues about their daily routines. The remains of musical instruments are also very interesting. Finding these instruments, especially the flutes, is really important. Some of the flutes are incredibly well made, with multiple chambers that can make a wide range of sounds. This tells us they were more musically advanced than we thought for a civilization of that time. Besides art, Caral-Supe's treasures also tell us about their religion. Ceremonial platforms and altars in the city show us that religion was important in Caral-Supe. Maybe the most interesting things found at Caral-Supe are the skeletons of its people. Buried inside the city's pyramids and other buildings, these remains connect us to the people who lived in this old city. Studying the skeletons shows that they were surprisingly healthy for their time. Grave goods buried with the dead, like pottery, textiles, and other personal items, tell us about their beliefs about what happens after death. By putting together the pieces of pottery, textiles, instruments, and human remains, archaeologists are slowly learning about life in this ancient city. These whispers from the sands tell a story of ingenuity, artistry, and strong spiritual beliefs. Caral-Supe's city plan shows how clever and socially complex its people were. The layout, with huge pyramids, big plazas, and separate living areas, shows a society with different levels and a good understanding of city design. In the center of the city are 6 massive pyramids, their huge structures overlooking everything. Around the pyramids are large plazas, open spaces where people gathered for religious ceremonies, public events, and maybe even markets. Connecting the pyramids and plazas is a network of streets and pathways laid out very precisely. Building Caral-Supe's huge structures, especially the pyramids, was a fantastic engineering achievement. With only simple tools and human labor, the people of Caral-Supe figured out clever ways to cut, move, and put together giant stones, some weighing several tons. The precision of the stonework, without using mortar, shows their skill and cleverness. Besides the pyramids, Caral-Supe had advanced water systems. This shows how advanced their city planning was and how well they understood the challenges of their environment. Caral-Supe's city layout shows a clear social hierarchy, which you can see in the size and location of the buildings. The largest and fanciest pyramids, located in the best spots in the city, probably housed the rulers, priests, or other important people. Around these elite homes were smaller, simpler buildings that probably housed craftspeople, merchants, and other workers. The separation of living areas by social status suggests a hierarchical social structure with different jobs for different people. Caral-Supe's advanced city plan suggests that city planning developed independently in the Americas because people needed to manage resources, organize work, and create social order. Figuring out the social structure of a lost civilization is hard, but Caral-Supe gives us some clues. The city's layout, its artifacts, and even its buried remains tell us about social structure, religious practices, and daily life. The grand central buildings suggest a powerful elite, probably made up of priests, rulers, or both. Below this elite, a complex network of artisans, laborers, and merchants kept the city running. The apparent lack of walls around Caral-Supe and the absence of weapons in their art suggests a society that valued peace and cooperation. Imagine the sights and sounds of Caral-Supe. In the shadow of towering pyramids, daily life went on. Farmers worked in fields watered by clever canals, their crops feeding the city. Artisans working in their workshops turned raw materials into beautiful and useful objects. The rhythmic banging of stone against stone echoed through the city as workers built grand projects. In the busy plazas, merchants sold their goods, their voices mixing with the laughter of children and the music of musicians. Religious ceremonies, a key part of life in Caral-Supe, were regular events. Processions of priests and worshippers, dressed in colorful clothes, walked towards the pyramids, carrying offerings to please the gods and ensure the city's prosperity. The haunting melodies of flutes and the beat of drums filled the air, echoing through the plazas and beyond. Inside the homes of Caral-Supe, families gathered around fires, sharing meals and stories. Children learned the skills of their parents, keeping traditions alive. Life, though hard in this dry environment, was supported by a strong sense of community and shared beliefs. The skeletons found at Caral-Supe give us a look into the lives of the people who lived there. Buried inside the pyramids and other structures, these remains, some carefully arranged with grave goods, tell us a lot about their beliefs and customs. Studying these remains shows a surprisingly healthy population for their time. Despite the tough environment, the people of Caral-Supe seem to have eaten a balanced diet, suggesting good farming practices and resource management. Some of the skeletons have injuries, some healed, which suggests a life of both hard work and maybe even some fighting. The different grave goods buried with the dead, from simple pottery pieces to fancy textiles and jewelry, suggest a belief in an afterlife where status and possessions mattered. These offerings give us a glimpse into their beliefs, suggesting they wanted to honor the dead and help them pass to the next world. Through these skeletal echoes, we see glimpses of individuals: a skilled artisan buried with his tools, a young mother buried with her baby, an elder buried with tokens of respect. Their stories, though lost to time, remind us that Caral-Supe was more than just buildings and artifacts. It was a community of people, each with their own unique experiences and contributions. The sun sets on the Supe Valley, casting long shadows over the silent pyramids of Caral-Supe. Thousands of years have passed since this busy city thrived, but its legacy continues, etched in stone and whispered on the desert winds. Caral-Supe shows how clever and resilient humans are, a civilization that grew against all odds in a tough environment. Its discovery changed what we knew about ancient history, challenging old ideas about the origins of civilization in the Americas. Caral-Supe is as old as some of the world's oldest known cities, showing that complex societies developed independently in different parts of the world, each driven by innovation, social organization, and a shared vision. This ancient city's influence probably spread far beyond its immediate area. As a center of trade and cultural exchange, Caral-Supe's ideas, technologies, and beliefs likely spread throughout the region, shaping later cultures. Its legacy can be seen in the echoes of its architecture, its artistic designs, and maybe even in the social structures of later Andean civilizations. But Caral-Supe's story isn't just about past glories. It's important for today, offering valuable lessons for a world dealing with social, environmental, and technological challenges. By studying the successes and failures of this ancient civilization, we can learn about our own path and maybe find a more sustainable and harmonious way forward. In a world often filled with conflict and division, Caral-Supe is a beacon from a time when cooperation and shared beliefs were most important. The apparent lack of city walls and the absence of weapons in their art suggests a society that valued peace and diplomacy over conquest and war. This focus on harmony probably came from a deep understanding of their connection with their environment and with each other. They knew that their survival depended on cooperation, sharing resources, and working together. This ancient wisdom is important for today's world, which faces challenges that cross national borders and need global solutions. Caral-Supe also reminds us about the importance of cultural diversity and preserving our shared heritage. The city's unique architecture, intricate artifacts, and mysterious belief system give us a glimpse into a world very different from our own, helping us understand human history and the many cultures that have shaped our world. Preserving sites like Caral-Supe isn't just about looking back, it's about investing in our collective future. By studying the past, we learn more about human civilization, the challenges we've overcome, and the lessons we need to learn to avoid making the same mistakes. Caral-Supe's story reminds us that innovation and adaptation are essential for survival, especially when facing environmental challenges. This ancient civilization thrived in a dry region with limited water, yet they found clever solutions to overcome these obstacles. Their advanced irrigation systems, carefully planned cities, and sustainable farming practices helped them thrive for centuries. These achievements offer valuable lessons for today's world, which is dealing with climate change, resource depletion, and environmental damage. By learning from the ingenuity of our ancestors, we can find new solutions to the ecological challenges we face. Perhaps the most important lesson of Caral-Supe is the power of shared beliefs and a common purpose to unite people and inspire great achievements. This ancient civilization, even without a written language, had a strong sense of community, shared beliefs, and a willingness to work together for the common good. These qualities helped them overcome hardship, build huge structures, and create a thriving society that lasted for centuries. In a world often divided by self-interest, Caral-Supe's story reminds us that our greatest achievements often come from cooperation, empathy, and a shared vision for a better future. As we face the challenges of the 21st century, let's learn from Caral-Supe, a civilization that reminds us that even in the toughest environments, human ingenuity, cooperation, and belief in something bigger than ourselves can create a legacy that lasts for thousands of years.